Dazon, looked like you really turned up the aggressiveness there when you guys got down. Did coach say anything to you, or what changed your mindset there?
No, I just know as a veteran of the team, when the game starts to get out of hand, then it's time for me to crank on to that next level.
How tough was it to find, rhythm offensively with the way the game was being called, and what do you think changed in the second half for you guys to be able to get that offensive rhythm you wanted?
Go ahead.
We just stayed aggressive. We kept attacking the rim. We know we weren't going to get no foul calls. So I mean, Coach Avery, he's a bad ref in practice, so we're used to it.
Can you just speak to your aggressiveness? I mean, I think you had 4 or 5 dunks really just around the basket. Guys were finding you open on those opportunities.
I just depend on how the game going, but getting up and down the court, getting in bailout spacing, finishing at the rim. That's something me and Coach Pell and Coach Avery have been talking about. For me, I got to do more of. So that's where a lot of it comes from. Just finishing up above the rim for me.
And Dazon, talk about the free throw shooting in the second half. You guys were 16 out of 18. You made your last 13 after a slow start.
Yes. I mean, we can make free throws, and we know that. We work hard in practice on making them. So, and if we don't make them, then Coach Avery's gonna make us run. So, I mean, we just had to really lock in at the end when they were needed down the stretch.
It seemed like for a lot of the night that the crowd was really trying to get into it, and it was they couldn't get over the top, couldn't go over the hump. What was it like on the court? Was it frustrating at all at times when you guys just seemed like every time you make a run, they'd answer back?
Yes. I mean, basketball is a game. It goes back and forth. So our crowd, we just thank them for coming out and showing us major support. And they were rowdy tonight, so it got loud. It got loud at the end, and we was able to come out with the win.
Back-to-back close wins here. What does it mean to be on the right side of those wins, and what does it say about this team that they're able to do that?
We like to win.
Facts. Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. We like to win. We don't want to lose.
That's what we plan for, to win. So.
This was a game that probably first one he's experienced. Colin kind of struggled shooting the ball, throughout. What did you see from him, and how he was able to kind of work through that and help you all at the end?
Me and Donta, we just tell him to stick with it. We know what he can do. So, I mean, he didn't have a great first half, and he came down in the second half and was able to help us pull out the win.
Yeah, he got that.
He's a character.
Yeah, every day. It's something we see every day.
All right, we're joined by head coach Avery Johnson. We'll get an opening statement, and we'll go ahead and open up some questions.
Okay. Terrific second half for our team. Really proud of them. Those guys that were in there in the second half, man, they played both ends of the floor, and they were hustling, and they played with a lot of passion. We finally started playing a little bit smarter and took better care of the ball. And the performance that Dazon, and specifically Dazon, to start with him, and also Colin in terms of the backcourt, the way they dominated, getting to the basket and making shots for us and making good decisions. And then Donta Hall is in there rebounding for us, and catching those short passes from those guys, being ready, we made our free throws tonight, which is huge for us. We got on a pretty good streak there in the second half, and even Dazon missed too early, but we found a way to make our free throws, which was a great sign for us. Anytime we shoot 70+% from the free throw line in a game, that bodes pretty well for us. But as you continue to see, we're not a finished product. Hopefully I won't continue to say that forever. But we have some areas we need to clean up. And fortunately, we were able to clean them up after another win at home.
Two quick ones. First, John Petty, we didn't see him much in the second half. What's going on with him?
Well, it's just, lineups. We were searching there for a minute, and we got a lineup in there that started to get some momentum, so we just thought we should ride with it. And fortunately, it worked out for us. And we've had other games, maybe when some other guys like John is in there, and we just decided to go with that lineup. But we were desperate, and we were down, and those guys seem to have a lot of energy, so we just stuck with them.
Dazon mentioned that being the veteran, he senses when it's time to sort of take over the game and push the issue. How many conversations have you had with him about that, and how have you seen him sort of grow into that role this year?
Well, we've been having some conversations over the last 2 days, and we've worked on his free throws, and we've had some quiet time to talk about certain situations, and he and I, just like all of the guys, we have a great relationship. So just spending that extra time after practice on the court talking, and trying to get our guys just to trust that we know what we see, and we're trying to help them maximize their potential. And he trusted it. And fortunately tonight, specifically from the free throw line, he wasn't perfect, but boy, he sure made them when we needed them.
Colin obviously probably didn't have the start that he wanted to have, missing his first 5 or 6 shots. How did you see him sort of respond to that, and how did you see him kind of come alive in the second half?
Well, you saw a sign of maturity, because you're not going to be able to just drive and do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. So what happens when there's some adversity, or when other teams who scout, the Louisiana Tech guys, trust me, they scouted us. They didn't come in here and just roll out the balls and said, well, we're going to let the three-point shooters shoot threes, and we're going to let the penetrators penetrate. No, they scout. So, they had a game plan of trying to get 3 on the ball when Colin had the basketball, and he had some tough looks in the first half, but got some better looks in the second half, and then his teammates made him better in certain situations by getting him the ball when he was open. But it's just a sign of maturity. Maybe a month ago or 2 months ago, he wouldn't have been able to respond in situations like this.
Speaking of maturity, I guess Riley came in and gave you some valuable minutes. How's it changed your rotation and what you can do with him back from injury?
Yeah, it's tough because we thought about starting him tonight, but because we've been getting in some foul trouble early in the game, and offensively we just haven't had the rhythm. But Riley gave us some huge minutes. Alex Reese, both of those guys, Reese and Riley, their numbers are not going to blow you away on the stat sheet. But defensively, the way they helped us, especially when we went to a little bit of a matchup zone to try to slow them down, those guys were critically important. But that's what Riley does. He defends. He's our hard hat guy. And some nights, even if he's not making a three-point shot, he can still contribute to our success.
Dazon said that if they missed their free throws, they're going to make them run. They were 16 for 18 in the second half. How much do you think that was a factor?
No, that's only in practice. But you look at him tonight with his free throws. He didn't shoot his free throws in 0.5 seconds. He relaxed for the first 3 or 4 seconds. We talk a lot about positive imagery. He started to think about making and seeing the free throw go in before he actually took it. And then he was able to engage his legs and relax his body, and he had more success at the line. So hopefully we'll continue to see a consistent pattern of that.
There was a lot of good ball movement tonight. It seemed, especially that it was a concerted effort to get the ball inside to Donta. Can you speak to that and his game inside? He got big dunks and energy right there.
It was huge for us, especially when they went to their 1-3-1 zone. Their zone is giving a lot of teams problem. But fortunately, we worked on it, and Donta timed it perfectly, and we were able to get him some looks right underneath the basket. Credit our guys for making on-time, on-target passes. Your plays work a whole lot better when we can do that. But those guys, again, when we got desperate and we were down and there was a lot of adversity, we seem to have played a lot better. We just need to get more minutes, quality minutes, playing that way at the start of the game and throughout the game.
Another thing Dazon said was that you're actually a really bad ref during practice. But no, it seemed like there were some frustrating calls from the refs. How do you feel that your team was able to respond to that, and how did they handle that?
I think the word is getting out that we don't complain, okay? We do not complain to officials. if there needs to be a clarification on a call, I talk to the official. So even if things didn't go our way, if you thought you got fouled, or if you thought it was a charge, our guys, we're not showing up officials at Alabama, okay? That says something about your DNA and your culture when you can play through adversity. You know, and we sure played through it in our last game. And I think some of the lessons from that game carried over tonight, especially in the second half. But yes, I am a bad official in practice, and it's intentional.
A couple questions, Coach. First, to start the game, Giddens got the 2 quick fouls, but I thought Galen Smith gave you some really good minutes, and he seems to have improved so much since the trip to Canada. Talk about him, and then in the second half, you guys hit that lull offensively, but then Alex Reese sparked you, and really I thought gave you some hidden minutes there where he really hit the glass and gave you a spark.
Yeah, and you know, as it relates to Daniel, when you've sat out an entire year, all right, or 14 months from playing basketball, you know, it just takes a little time to find your rhythm, and he'll be okay. You know, a couple of fouls there where maybe out of position, so we'll get him in better position, but he'll be fine. But Reese stepped up for us, especially in our zone. Boykins was hot on us in the first half. He made his first 2 threes, and then he was 0 for 9 the rest of the way. And a lot of that was because Reese was in the back of our zone on the right side, and he did a really nice job of understanding, you know, how effective of a three-point shooter Boykins is, and he got out there and really contested his shots, or he denied him the basketball.
And then coming off of the Minnesota situation, the 3-on-5, and then tonight where it was an uphill battle until almost the end of the game. They led for most of the game. What have you learned about the competitive spirit of your club?
Yeah, I think it's at a high level. We've been talking about that since day one. You know, we easily could have had somebody else on our schedule tonight. We know how good and knew how good Louisiana Tech was. When you look at Bracey, Boykins, Harris, you know, didn't have his best night tonight. Those guys can play at a lot of SEC schools. And they're going to have a chance, again, to either win their conference or come in second and maybe win their conference tournament. That's what we're about in terms of scheduling. We could have had a cupcake night, win by 30, everybody go home happy, or we can experience some adversity, and we experienced a lot of it tonight with Tech.
You mentioned Riley Norris' stat sheet not jumping out at you. I'm looking here. Let me put on my glasses. 4 points, 4 rebounds, 2 or 3 charges taken. Looks like pretty good stats to me.
Well, I know you're a type of guy, Mark. You want it to be 14 points and 14 rebounds and 4 steals, all right, and no turnovers, all right? And then you tweet about it. Yeah. All right, thanks, guys.